I lived 102 years. Here's what really matters. My name is Eleanor. I am 102 years old, and I am still here, still breathing, still thinking, still grateful for every single morning that I open my eyes and see the light coming through the curtains. People come to visit me, and they always ask the same thing. They sit down, they take my hand, and they say, "Eleanor, what is your secret? How have you lived so long?" And I smile, because after 102 years, I have learned that the secret to a long life is not really about the length at all. It is about the depth. It is about what you fill those years with. It is about what you choose and what you let go of, and who you love and how you love them. And today I want to tell you everything I know, everything I wish someone had told me when I was young and impatient and certain that I understood how life worked. Because I did not understand, not even close. My name is Eleanor. I was born 102 years ago in a small house on a quiet street. There was no television, no internet, no mobile phones. The world was a very different place, slower, smaller, more connected to the earth and to each other in ways that I think we have lost and I think we miss even when we do not know what we are missing. I grew up with 4 siblings. We were poor, but we did not know we were poor because everyone around us was the same. We played outside until dark. We ate meals together every single night. We talked, we argued, we laughed. We sat on the porch in the evenings and watched the stars and talked about nothing and everything. And those evenings, those simple, unhurried, unplanned evenings, I have never forgotten them, not in 102 years, because they gave me something that I spent the rest of my life trying to find again, the feeling of being completely present, completely at home, completely enough. I got married when I was 24. His name was William. He was a tall, quiet man with kind eyes and rough hands and a laugh that filled whatever room he was in. We were married for 61 years. 61 years, and I will tell you something about those 61 years that I think is important. They were not always easy. People remember long marriages and they think, how romantic, how beautiful. And it was, but it was also hard work, real work. The kind of work that nobody talks about. We fought, sometimes badly. We disappointed each other. We went through losses that nearly broke us. We had years that were joyful and years that were gray and long and difficult. But we chose each other. Every single day we chose each other. Not because it was always easy, but because we had decided a long time ago that this was the person we were going to do life with. And that decision, renewed every morning, was the foundation of everything. When William passed away, I was 85, and I will not pretend that was not the hardest thing I have ever lived through, because it was. Losing him was like losing the person who had known me longest and loved me most completely, like losing a whole language that only the two of us spoke. I sat in our house for weeks just listening to the silence where his voice used to be. But then something happened, something unexpected. I decided in the deepest and most private part of myself that I was going to honor the life we had built by continuing to live. Not just exist, not just wait, but truly live. For however many years I had left, and I have been doing that ever since. I was 85 when I made that decision. I have had 17 more years since then. 17 years of mornings and meals and conversations and laughter and a few more losses and a lot more sunsets. 17 years that I would not trade for anything. So what have I learned? What does 102 years actually teach you? Let me tell you. The first thing, and I want you to really hear this, is that people are everything, not things, not achievements. Not status or money or reputation or any of the things we spend so much of our lives chasing. People, the faces around your table, the voice on the other end of the phone, the friend who shows up when everything falls apart, the child who reaches up and takes your hand. That is everything. That is the whole thing. I have outlived almost everyone I grew up with. I have sat at so many bedsides and so many gravesides. And I will tell you, not one single person at the end of their life said, "I wish I had worked more." Not one. They talked about people. They asked for people. They remembered moments with people. The meeting that went well does not comfort you at the end. The person who loved you does. So tend to your people. Tend to them the way you would tend to a garden that you cannot live without, with patience, with attention, with care, even when it is inconvenient, especially when it is inconvenient. The second thing I know is that kindness is never wasted. Never. I have lived through times of great hardship and great uncertainty. I have seen the worst of what people can do to each other, and I have also seen the best. And I can tell you, the acts of kindness I witnessed and received and gave, they outlasted everything else. A kind word at the right moment can change the direction of a person's entire life. I know this because it happened to me. I was 34 years old, and I was going through a period of deep self-doubt. A woman I barely knew, a neighbor, knocked on my door one afternoon with a small cake she had baked. She said, "I just had a feeling you needed something sweet today." That was all. A small cake and a sentence. But I sat at my kitchen table after she left, and I cried, and something in me that had been clenched for months let go. I never forgot her. I never forgot that moment. And I spent the rest of my life trying to be that neighbor for someone else. Be kind, randomly, generously, without keeping score. You will never know the full impact of a single act of kindness, but trust me, it reaches further than you can imagine. The third thing is this: worry is the greatest thief of joy that I have ever known. I was a worrier when I was young. I worried about money. I worried about my children. I worried about what people thought of me. I worried about the future constantly, always preparing for something terrible that was coming. And most of the time, the terrible thing never came. Or when it did, it was not the thing I had been worried about at all. It was something else entirely, something I had not anticipated, and I had spent all that energy worrying about the wrong thing. I wasted years of my life in worry, years that I cannot get back. And what I know now, from the far end of a very long life, is that worry does not protect you from pain. It just makes you suffer twice. It makes you suffer in anticipation, and then again when the hard thing actually happens. Let go of worry, not all at once. I know that is not how it works, but practice it. When the worried thoughts come, and they will always come, practice asking yourself this one question: is there something I can do about this right now? If yes, do it. If no, let it go. Give it to God or to time or to the universe or to whatever you believe in, but let it go. Life is too short and too beautiful to spend it in a cage of your own making. The fourth thing, and this one surprises people, is that it is okay to be wrong. I spent so much of my younger years needing to be right, needing to have the answer, needing to win the argument, and it cost me. It cost me closeness with people I loved. It cost me the ability to learn because I was always so sure I already knew. The older I got, the more I understood. The wisest people I had ever known were the ones who were most comfortable saying I do not know, or I was wrong about that, or teach me. Humility is not weakness. Humility is the door through which wisdom enters. Walk through it as often as you can. The fifth thing is about time. Everyone talks about time. Everyone knows time is precious, but knowing it and feeling it are very different things. When you are young, time feels infinite. There is always more, always tomorrow, always next year, always eventually. And then one day you are 102 and you understand in your bones, in your blood, in a way that cannot be explained, only lived, that time was always the most valuable thing you had, and you cannot get it back, not a single minute. So I want to ask you something. What are you doing with your time right now? Not your money, not your career, your time, are you spending it on things that fill you, on people who matter, on moments that will become memories you cherish? Or are you spending it on things that will mean nothing in 10 years, in 20, in 100? Choose carefully. Choose consciously. Because every day you wake up, you are given a limited number of hours, and what you do with those hours is your life, not a practice run, not a rehearsal, your actual life. The sixth thing I want to tell you is about forgiveness. I have had things done to me in my life that were genuinely wrong, genuinely hurtful. I have had people betray me and disappoint me and wound me in ways that took years to heal, and I held on to some of those wounds for too long. I carried them like stones in my chest, and they were heavy, so heavy. Forgiveness is not about saying what happened was acceptable. It is not about pretending you were not hurt. It is not about letting someone back into your life who will hurt you again. Forgiveness is about putting the stones down. It is about saying, I am not going to let this wound define the rest of my story. I am choosing to walk lighter. I forgave the people who hurt me, not all at once, not easily, but eventually. And every time I forgave, I felt lighter, I felt freer, I felt more like myself. Carry forgiveness with you like a tool. Use it often. It will do more for your health and your happiness than any medicine I have ever taken. And I have taken quite a few medicines in 102 years. The seventh thing, and perhaps the most important, is gratitude. Real gratitude. Not the kind you perform on social media. Not the kind you feel only when something wonderful happens. The deep, daily, almost stubborn gratitude that says, even in hard times, even in loss, even in pain, there is still something here worth being grateful for. I practice gratitude every single day of my life, even the hardest days, especially the hardest days. The day William died, I sat in the garden and I made myself find three things: the warmth of the sun on my face, the sound of birds, the smell of the roses William had planted for me the spring before. Three things. It felt impossible and it felt wrong, and it also felt just barely like enough to get through the day. Gratitude is not denial. It is not pretending things are fine when they are not. It is choosing to hold both things at once: the pain and the beauty, the loss and the gift, the hard day and the small mercy inside it. Practice it every morning, even when it feels hollow, especially then, because gratitude, practiced daily, becomes a way of seeing. And when you can see beauty even in ordinary things, even in hard things, you become very difficult to break. I am 102 years old. My body is slower now. My world is smaller. I do not go many places, but my heart is full. Genuinely, quietly, completely full. Not because my life was easy. It was not. Not because I never suffered. I did. But because I love people well and they love me back. Because I practiced kindness every day. Because I let go of worry and held on to wonder. Because I forgave and was forgiven. Because I woke up every single morning and looked for something to be grateful for. Because I chose again and again, in small ways and large ways, in easy seasons and terribly hard ones, I chose to be present in my own life. That is what really matters. Not the years, the presence inside the years, not the length of the life, the depth of it, not what you achieved, who you loved, and how. My name is Eleanor. I have lived 102 years, and if I could give you one gift, just one, it would be this. Wake up tomorrow morning and treat the day like the gift it is. Look at the people around you and really see them. Say the things you have been meaning to say. Let go of the things that are weighing you down. Do one small act of kindness for someone who is not expecting it. And at the end of the day, before you close your eyes, find three things that were good. Even on the hard days, find three things. Because a life built on that practice, day after day, year after year, that is a life that will feel full when you reach the end of it. I know I am at the end of mine, and my heart is full. Thank you for spending this time with me. Please share this with someone who needs to hear it. And go love your people right now, today, before another ordinary, extraordinary day slips by.